Hello all, welcome back to Elemental Books. I'm Joey, and today I have a review for the book Girls with Sharp Sticks by Suzanne Young, the author of the Program series, which I loved, but I only read the first and half of the second book, so I can't actually say much, but I liked the first book. The first book was very good. Today we're going to talk about what the summary was, as well as the different pros and cons of the story. However, I will maintain that this is a book that you should go into without knowing very much. So if you're the kind of person who wants to not know very much going into this, maybe you should avoid this review and watch it after you've finished and see if my thoughts match up with yours. However, the review is spoiler free. So if you don't mind knowing a little bit about mysteries when you go into, because it is kind of a mystery, it's not classified in the mystery genre, but I would say that it has mystery elements. So if you prefer that kind of thing, not knowing what you're going into and just getting it all full force when you join, then maybe watch this review after you're done. But still watch it, because I hope that you would like to know my thoughts, and if you read this book, then please tell me what you think in the comments or anywhere else, Twitter, whatever. This book is about a group of girls attending an elite private school, preparatory school in fact, that realize that the sexist environment that is very secluded in which they attend school and live is not all that it seems. So, very interesting premise, and I got into the book because of this crazy cover. Also the author Suzanne Young, and additionally just the fact that it's about girls revolting, and I'm feminist.
I mean, we shall be feminist, but anyway.
Cons. The girls did not have a lot of character, and I can only fault Suzanne Young for this so much because of the nature of the story, but I can't go into the story very much without giving away spoilers. But the girls didn't really have a lot of character. I was originally going to give the book 5 stars, but I ended up giving it 4 stars because of these negative aspects, because I was I was on the high of end of reading this book, and I was like, oh, so excited. I read the end of the book and I was like, so happy, so excited about the way it had ended and the possibility of a sequel. And then when I was writing this review, then I was just kind of thinking, maybe it wasn't as good as I said it was. So I did bring my rating down 1 star, so now it's 4 stars. Another thing is that it's very similar to the program, so this can be seen as a pro or a con, but it did have a lot of the same elements, which made it a little tiny bit predictable. So if you've read the program, you know what I'm talking about. It had some of the same medical elements to it. I do enjoy that type of plot device, and so I was very happy about it. However, if you've read the program, you may not think, if you don't like it, then you don't like it here. That sort of thing. Another thing is potential man-hating we have to discuss with this book, because all of the professors at the school, as well as the headmaster, are male, and the doctor who works at the school is male. The only 2 guy characters that are in this book, there are also several investors in the school who also happen to be kind of sexist, and everybody's sexist and bad and very just misogynist. All the men are, at least, except for these 2 guys who the main character meets at the very beginning of the book, right outside of when they're going on a field trip. And so those are the only 2 boys. They're boys, not men, who, although you could call them men because they're in college, so I don't really know. Those were the only 2 characters that actually had any sort of nice qualities to them. There was one good investor who actually listened to what main character was saying, and that was good, but I don't really know what to think about him. We don't really know much about him, and I think if this book does get a sequel, it will go into more about that investor. But it seems like very anti-man. There was a poem in the story called Girls with Sharp Sticks, and it talks about these sorts of revolting with sharp, with revolution, with like actual physical revolution. And I was just kind of like, I don't know how I feel about that. So I don't know how to feel about this book. But I wouldn't say it was man-hating, but I did hear things about that. So I do think it's a very interesting discussion, and let me know in the comments what you think about that if you have read this book, or if there are any other books that you could see as potential man-hating. Good things is that, some good things are that there was only a minor romance, meaning that there was a character, a boy, that the girl met at the beginning of the story, and she kind of thinks, oh, he's like really good looking, and I mean, I dig that, but they don't ever actually have a romance. There's no kiss, there's no real flirting. He's like, the other girls call him her gas station boyfriend because they meet at a gas station on a field trip. So, I mean, it's very small. If there is any romance at all, it's like the size of a pin. It's very non-existent, and it might develop in the second book, if there is a second book. I don't really know if this is the rest of the series. I think it is, but it's not big, so that's a good thing. If you like romance, not really, but if you don't really like romance that much, read this book. Okay, now we're gonna get into the spoilers section, so sign off this video if you haven't read the book, because I'm going to go into spoilers. I'll give you a little bit of time to get off. Plot twist, they are robots. That was, wow. I mean, I did not see that coming. I saw them as very just secluded girls in this one-way environment that they had been brought up in, and then things started to click together, and it was revealed that they're actually robots that have lived multiple lives and been reset for these investors, and that this whole reason that why these men are so submissive, they think that these girls are so submissive, and they think of these girls as property, is because they're actually robots. So I was like, wow, not only is this book feminist, but it has a whole discourse on AI and what you can treat AI like. Because this book, clearly, it's told from the perspective of someone who's artificial intelligence. So that brings up an interesting discussion. What makes you soulless? What makes you have a soul? What makes you have a personality? What makes you have a capacity for reason? What makes you have a capacity to, is it murder if someone kills a robot, right? That sort of thing. And what makes you, how far is it going? Because these robots could easily take over the world. Like, they're human. They're basically human. There are certain things, and after it's revealed that they're robots, where it mentions programming and that they're trying to get past their blocks that these girls have. But, I mean, overall, you never know. You would never know that they're robots. Like, they act like humans. Only once you figure out they're robots would you look back and say, oh, that's maybe something that a robot would do. That's maybe something that an android would do. But I never guessed. And some people may guess things because often I don't guess things that other people guess. But I was like very surprised. And that brings you back to the part of, maybe why the girls don't have as much personality is because they're robots. But they obviously do have some personality, and they obviously do have like a capacity of reason. It seems like they have a soul, but like, what is a soul? And then you have to get into the religious section of things. What makes you, like, do you have to be, made by God and be a human to have a soul if you're like Christian, if that's what you believe? Or, is it just about personality? Do people have souls? Because some people, don't. I believe in souls, that people have souls, but some people don't believe in souls. Some people just think that humans are run by a brain. And so if an AI has a brain, even if they were made by programming, if their neurons are just wires instead of nerve endings, does that make them the same as a human, or does it make them less? So it's a very interesting thought. So if you've read this book, obviously you should have if you're listening to the spoiler section, but maybe you just decided to listen to the spoiler section. But let me know in the comments what you think about this, because interesting. When I found out that they were robots, I was like, oh my gosh, my whole world has been turned upside down, because I've seen situations like this with like Eco from the Lunar Chronicles. She obviously has a personality. She obviously seems to have a soul, but what defines a soul? So then you have to think about that, because several of the professors in this book say, oh, you're just soulless creatures that we can't, let you go out into the world. We can't let you have your own, you have to be protected by your future husbands, because, they're like they're these investors that are their husbands or whatever. And you're professors and we'll take care of you, and you can't handle this stuff on your own because you're AI. You don't have the capacity to take care of yourself. Anyway, that was a whole interesting thought, and it just exploded in my mind when I read that. And I was like, so I had to share it, because that's mainly why I included the spoiler section, is because I wanted to talk about that. Another thing is, they talked about how they were girl robots because girls were easier to appease, easier to be submissive. They were less likely to revolt. And then the main character was like, you think that just because we're girls, we're going to be less likely to revolt? And then they get all slashy with their knives, and like they totally butcher the doctor that has taken care of them. And that's another potential man-hating thing. They actually kill him brutally. If this was a movie, it'd be very graphic. And so I'm kind of like, oh, is that man-hating? It's definitely a feminist statement, but is it too far? I don't know. But they were saying basically how the professors made these robots female, because that being a relative term, considering that they're AI, but making these robots women, girls, because they were like, oh, if you're a girl, you're less likely to revolt. And so that's another feminist theme that goes on. And so I was very happy about that. Those were my thoughts on the book. I loved it. I was infatuated with the story. I read it all. I read the first half at school or something, and then the second half I just read on the couch with my sister. She was reading a book, I was reading a book, and we just...
I'm sorry, the camera just was shaking because my cat was scratching the pole that the camera is sitting on. Sorry about that.
I was just very enthralled with this story, and I could not put it down. So please read this book. It was so good. I loved it. That's all I have for now. Subscribe to my channel, click the bell icon to get notified of each new video. I post twice a week, or at least I try to. Don't be sure to like this video and comment what you think about this book, or what you think about the themes in this book if you haven't read it yet. I want to hear people's thoughts, because I need to talk about this book. Alright, that is all for now, so I'll see you next video. Bye!